great to be here. Kind of actually be back. Or we were on vacation, so we took a week off, which was great. So.
It's pretty unusual that we take a week off and still don't do radio, because a lot of times we do radio even though we're on vacation. We might have recorded it, or we record from afar, or we get on anyway.
Yep.
So it was kind of missed it, huh?
Yeah, no, it's great to be back. This time of year, of course, I'm just in heaven because you get all this market data about, the previous year. All the reports are coming out, and there's still more to come, and there's going to be more to come as we, go through the year here. And right off the bat, we have the 2021 sales for the Albuquerque area just released yesterday. As a matter of fact, I got it from the association, and we'll take a look at that. Lots of records broken. We're going to talk about that. Tracy, let's start off with mortgage rates, because that's really kind of the big buzz this week when we're talking about real estate and housing everywhere. Everybody's talking about mortgage rates.
So the last two weeks, or just really since the first of the year, right? We've been watching the stock market. We've been watching interest rates. We've been checking out all the stats and what's going on. Interest rates have jumped up. And, the basis points that relate to it don't relate to it too much, right, Tego?
Well, when you look at, what the Fed's doing, everybody says, well, the Fed is raising rates, so that's going to raise mortgage rates. That's true, but there's not a direct correlation. It's an indirect correlation. But, and that's just it. The Fed hasn't raised the prime rate yet, but yet mortgage rates have gone up in anticipation of higher cost of money.
The Fed saying that they're going to be increasing the rate, perhaps several times during the year, has really caused a lot of movement in a lot of different markets.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so in the mortgage world, we're seeing about 3.75 mortgage interest rates, which, if you go back, I think we hit a low in 2021. That's one of the records for the year at 2.6.
Don't give it away yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
2.65, I think was. People were getting rates. I heard people getting rates even lower than that.
So that was January of 21.
Yeah.
When we had a record of rates, and we're talking 30-year fixed rate mortgages, because obviously a 15-year or a 20-year, we're going to be even lower than that. So what we consider, most borrowers do a 30-year loan.
Yeah.
So
well, especially with the cost. If you do a whole cost benefit analysis of, getting a higher rate and spreading it out, or getting a little bit lower rate and condensing it, there's a lot of different thinking on that. But just to give people an idea, rates are somewhere around 3.5 to 3.75, and that's, dependent on the type of program, if it's FHA, if it's conventional. Obviously the quality of your credit makes a big difference.
Totally.
But it's so funny that we're talking about 3.75 as high mortgage rates.
So when we were just talking about 15-year rates, so 15-year rates right now are lower, right? They're somewhere probably just around 3.
About a half point, maybe 3/4 of a point. Again, it really depends. But yeah, so everybody needs to do that analysis when they're looking to buy or refinance on a mortgage, and work with a local lender that's an expert and can really guide you through what the best program is for you.
So Tego, I had this interesting conversation this week, and it was, interest rates were up about a half a point for somebody who was looking to be a buyer.
Yeah.
Right. And we were doing the math on what was that in real numbers based on their purchase price. And in real numbers, it was about $70 more a month in a mortgage for them.
What was the price point on the house?
It was around 3, I believe.
Okay.
So don't quote me, but it was somewhere.
That sounds about right. Sure.
I know that their increase because of the mortgage rate increase was about $70 a month. So we were talking about it, and I have to remember, having been a real estate professional for 19 plus years now, that I keep going, oh my gosh, it's still so low. Everybody shouldn't freak out that we're at almost 4, and we're probably going to be at 4 before long, right?
Yeah.
And so I was telling the story about Jane Way, who's on our team, and she's my sister. And back in the early 80s, she camped overnight in Minnesota. I believe it was even winter in Minnesota. Interest rates at the time were around 18%, as I recall. And she camped overnight for a 12% first-time home buyer interest rate to help first-time home buyers get into homes. And luckily, she got there early enough, and she was one of those that was able to take advantage of 12%. So when we're talking 4%, I always have to put it in perspective and remember not everybody's been through those 12 to 18% years.
Exactly. I mean, you think about the millennial generation that grew up during the housing bubble, that grew up, obviously, came of, the millennium. I mean, obviously that's why they're called millennials. But that generation, I mean, that's all they've seen. They've always seen sub 5% mortgage rates, right?
So 19 years ago when I got into real estate, we were in the 7.5% range for quite a few years.
Yeah.
My first many years in real estate.
Yeah. And so, the whole idea, the whole thing about mortgage rates is, all indications are that they're going to continue to go up this year. There may be a pullback. I've followed some economists that think maybe they'll pull back. Who knows, but it's a whole idea. What I just want to say is, mortgage rates and cost of homes versus renting and cost of renting, you just have to do the math and see where it works better for you.
Absolutely. So doing the math and knowing what you're comfortable with and how interest rate fluctuations can help or hurt you, and knowing when to lock interest rates, right? That's one of the best things about working with a great local lender, right? Because they look at these rates every morning, and they might, if you're going to be under contract, you typically don't lock your interest rate like the day you find your perfect house, right?
Right.
You usually are talking to your lender, and they're watching rates because rates can fluctuate intraday. Right?
Oh, for sure.
So they'll call you and say, hey, interest rates just dropped 1/8 of a point. You might want to consider locking today. And so having a great local lender who's working on that for you is pretty important. So Tego, I know you're just so excited to get to some stats, right?
Yeah.
So let's do it. So the stats that we're going to talk about, right?
Well, what I wanted to do is go through some of the records that were broken in 2021 in the housing market.
So we're going to cover housing market records broken in 2021 in New Mexico. And then we'll put a twist on it at the end and do some national stats.
Yeah,
so
for
Tego,
sure.
I'm gonna quiz you a little bit. Median sales price, any records there?
Yeah, definitely. Median sales price, but you're going to have to let me look at it because I can't remember them right off the top of my head. But, I know I should. Median sales price hit an all-time high. Our median sales price in the greater Albuquerque area, and when I'm talking about these, we're talking about all single-family homes, so detached, attached, like condos, townhomes, even throw manufactured homes in here as well. Just basically,
which would bring it down.
Yeah, which brings it down. But just to give you an idea, the median price in December was basically $300,000. That is an increase of 18% versus last year, December, and in real numbers, that's like $50,000. So and actually I take that back. That's when we're talking about single family detached. But the thing is, I mean, $50,000, people's
$250,000 house.
Nah, that's not the right way to put it. I should take that back. Basically, the median prices have gone up $50,000. That is an all-time record. The average price per square foot has gone up from last year, and that's up. Let's see, percentage-wise, 17% from last year.
Is that a 2021 record?
And that's a 2021 record. So the price per square foot in Albuquerque for the entire year, if you average out the entire year, was $164 per square foot.
Wow.
And if we think back to the 2008-9 years where, homes were under 100 a square foot, now we're at 164 square foot. And again, that's every type of home. So there's homes that sell for 300 a square foot, and there's homes that sell for 80 a square foot.
So we go back, let's say 2010, so 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember putting home searches together for clients with price per square foot maximums. We were trying to find kind of the gems that were maybe bank owned or the lower price that maybe needed something. And I would put like a maximum of $80 a square foot and then maybe $90.
Yeah.
And we're at huge numbers now.
Oh, how times have
12
changed.
years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that means a lot of people who've been homeowners for a while are sitting on quite a bit of equity.
Yeah, no, and that's for sure. And homeowners definitely benefited. I've got another story about profits for home sellers in 2021. So
give us another record for 2021.
Another record was number of sales, closed sales, total closed sales. It was an all-time record, just at 15,000 sales in the Albuquerque area. And that's, again, all property types.
Not land.
Not land. This is just residences. Right. And so, to put that in perspective, if we compare it to 2020, which was the previous record, we're up about 3% from that year.
Which equates to about 200 homes.
Yeah, it's not a huge number.
14,800 to 15,000.
Yeah, I think it's like 400, I think was the number. But to give it more perspective, the previous record was 2005, and we had just over 14,000 sales, and right now we're just under 15,000 sales. So
I wish our readers could see this chart that you've got pulled up, because it's 2005, and then it goes way down to number of sales and slowly works its way back up to 2020.
Well, we hit the valley somewhere in, let's say, 2009, 2010 with about 7,000 to 8,000 sales. So even in those years when things were not good for home sales,
finding loans was tough.
Loans were tough. We all know it. We don't need to beat that up. But, there were still 7,000 sales. Now, that's half. But there were still, homes still sold, right? And
people still need to live somewhere.
Yeah.
People still need to make changes and move, and so it goes on.
The other big record, and I think this is, the one we all are talking about, is the supply of homes. The number of homes on the market has continually decreased all the way back to 2012 is kind of when things turned, and the number of homes, on average started to drop all the way through till today. And we started this year with the lowest number of homes on the market all the way back as far as I've got data for, which is 2005. And so there's just about 700 homes on the market at any given time in the Albuquerque area right now when we're sitting here January 2022. We're going to talk about getting your home ready for sale here in a moment, right?
We are. But let's talk about this for a minute. There was a realtor Facebook group, very, very many realtors in this Facebook group, talking about what's happened. Why are there not so many homes for sale? And I never chime in, and I didn't even read through the thread, but just seeing the headline on it, and I could see there was a lot of posts and comments about it. When I think about it, one of the things that we don't see a lot of publicity on is many people who are changing homes, buying a new home, moving somewhere, even maybe taking a rental in a different city because something changed. They're keeping their other house, right? So those houses aren't coming on the market. A lot of people are keeping them as investment properties. They're realizing, we're talking on the radio every week about real estate as an investment. So if you've got a starter home or a move-up home, something that's not luxury, that makes sense to keep as a rental or rent to your family, they're keeping them. That's one of the things that we've seen. Yeah,
for sure. And that is, again, there's so many different things that are putting pressure on the supply of homes coming on the market. All the way from the number of homes being built over the last 2 to 10 years, which is way behind.
Right.
Lots
of reasons.
Yeah, the list goes on and on, but yeah, that's definitely one of them.
The other thing is a record for 2021 regarding second homes.
Yeah, and that's we don't have good local stats on that, but nationally, a lot of second homes being sold all around the country. People either, like you said, buying investment properties. A lot of people have done that. They've used the equity that they gain because they have huge equity gains in their primary residence and buying an investment property. And then, like you said, people not well, that wouldn't really be
second
home.
So you think about the few that I know of in our team that we've helped. Most of the second homes we've helped are people who no longer have to commute to their job.
Oh, right.
And they can have that second home near their grandchildren or near some sort of feature that they always wanted to be at. Somebody that really wanted to be in Santa Fe. I know one of them was they just wanted that experience, and so they are able to do that because they're not so tied into where they work from.
There's that just reminded me then. Yeah, it's the Zoomtown phenomena. So there was this thing at the beginning, of 2020 where everybody was talking about Zoomtowns, where people that didn't have to work from their office, they could have a second home in a different community, live there, work there. But there was another term that came out last year, what was called, or 2020, co-primary residence.
Right.
Was another thing that was happening.
Co-primary residence.
So yeah, surge in second homes for sure.
And so one of the things that's caused, Tego, is less rentals.
Yes.
Right. So those people, a lot of them that have those second homes don't have them available for rent or even short-term rent. So those houses are being taken off the market for somebody that needs a primary residence.
Yep.
We're seeing some of that here, not huge, but we definitely have seen that in our team and some of the houses we've listed for sale.
Yeah.
Another record for 2021?
Another record for 2021 is the speed of sales, or average days on market. So we saw an average of let's look at median, because median's a better way to look at this. Median days on market in Albuquerque for 2021 was 4 days. If we go to 2020, it was 5 days. We knew that was crazy. What's interesting though, even if we go back to 2019, we were at like 20 days, which was still pretty fast. And again, we're talking median, so half of them were selling, in 2021 in 4 days or less.
What strikes me, Tego, is we think back to 2009, 10, 11, when there were so many distressed properties on the market. And you would think that because we had so many available suddenly and so few buyers at the time, people just weren't buying.
Yeah.
You would think that the days on market would be 6 months, right? But, it really wasn't, because if you look at the median, the gems were still selling, right?
Right.
The houses that were priced for the condition, we still had buyers, right?
Yeah.
And it maybe was 2 months instead of what you might think of longer. But median really tells a story.
So the other record was the number of homes that sold over list price. And I haven't crunched the numbers thoroughly because that's a really hard number to extract. But to give you an idea, in 2021, the average list price to sale price ratio was 100.8%. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but that means that on average, more homes sold for over list price than at or under list price. So yeah, that's again another record. And so, what is it? I mean, but go ahead, Tracy.
So for being a buyer, that's a really important thing to know.
Right.
Because when a buyer, calls and wants to find a house and says, we want to make sure we get a good deal and we're going to offer a little under, that they need to know that houses are selling for actually list price or above in most cases.
In most cases, right.
So we need to give good counsel so that they can be realistic and ready to go if their goal is to get a house. So
a couple more records. Some of this is national stuff. One of them you already talked about was the number of investors or second home buyers or investors buying homes. In some markets, there's a lot of let's just call them hedge fund type funded entities that are buying a lot of homes and just renting them, or building homes and renting them. We're not seeing that so much in Albuquerque. I suspect there's some of it, but it's not a huge part of the market.
So we talked about second homes, but investors was a different, that's two different categories of records in 2021 nationally.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other really, and just we'll wrap up with this, was higher price homes or luxury home sales. We've seen a huge surge in the number of homes for selling over, let's say, $600,000 in our market, which
Right.
we consider kind of the luxury market, somewhere 500 to 600 and
We
above.
kind of raised that, right?
Well, we had
because
to.
of
I mean,
what happened this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. It used to be, you consider luxury home any home that sells in the top 10% of all the homes sold in a market, and so it's somewhere in that 600,000 range, depending on the part of town. So yeah, that part of this has boomed as well. So all of that to say that 2021 was a record year in real estate in just about every way it can be measured.
So,
and so let's just finish with what's going to happen in 2022. How's it looking right now?
2022 probably continues, right? Interest rates will stay very affordable given history.
Yep.
Even though they might go up, some.
Yep.
They'll fluctuate and they will go up. Homes, we don't know about homes coming on the market, but we assume that this spring we will get houses on the market more so because the last 2 years we've had a lot of sellers kind of staying put for a lot of reasons. What do you think, Tego?
Yeah, I think there are some home sellers out there, people that have been thinking about or are going to be selling in 2022, and I think they're going, okay, maybe this is a year. People are our equity is up substantially. We've got all this nested equity in our home. Let's take advantage of that and either move up to another home or move out or whatever it is. And so, Tracy, we have a couple bullet points we want to go through for people that are thinking of, considering selling in 2022, some of the things they need to think about.
Sure. Just to piggyback on what
Yeah.
you were saying. So we've had quite a few home sellers calling us lately. Thank you for listening and for calling us. That are thinking of, they do have investment homes and they're thinking of selling and just taking the profits. Maybe they're at an age where they're done being landlords or
Sure.
property managers, and they are thinking of selling. So I think we'll see some of that also in 2022. But let's get to tips for selling your home, your New Mexico home in 2022. So
what would you put top on the list? I know what I would put top on the list.
So I would get your home photo ready and showing ready, but under that category, there are lots of steps.
Yeah.
And the first one would be over plan how long you think it's going to take. Put a plan together, and when we meet with home sellers, they're very ambitious and they say, well, I'm going to get that baseboard fixed and I'm going to replace the carpet and I'm going to repaint this room and that room and I'm going to put things away and I'm going to donate and I'm going to pack up half of my things. But doing all that and getting it done in the course of regular living can take more time than people plan for.
Yeah, and that was going to be my thing is the number one thing is prepare for preparing, and it's going to take longer than you think. And even in this kind of, let's just call it crazy real estate market, in the sense that homes are selling fast, right? We just went through all the numbers. Homes are selling fast. Homes are selling over list price. You still don't want to leave money on the table by not having your home show ready, merchandised, and ready to go, right?
Right. Very important. We still see the homes that aren't prepared for sale aren't getting top dollar, might not be selling as quickly. Number two, Tego, I would say let's get a consultation going before you decide what things to do as far as upgrading and getting your house ready. Because a lot of times we meet with clients after they've already painted or already picked carpet or already done some things. And the things that they've done might not be the things that the real estate market and home buyers are going to resonate with. They might have done things that have bothered them with the house, but it might not be the things that'll be the things that we say, hey, these are the bullet points. These are the things you want to focus on. So sometimes people spend way more money and do things that we don't even think are going to make a difference, right?
Right. Well, and not even if we think, it's what we know based on,
right.
lots of
Showing
experience
thousands,
of doing this.
Selling thousands of houses.
And so, I mean, I think the big thing, Tracy, is just people need to understand it's going to take you longer than you want. You want to get it spit, shine, clean, looking really good. take care of all that deferred maintenance that's been hanging out there for a while. A lot of people like to have a home inspector come in and do a pre-inspection to look through the home with a fresh set of eyes to see those little things that you've been overlooking for years and suddenly you see. So yeah, there is that, Tracy.
So quick checklist.
Yep.
Is make it bright and inviting. Replace light bulbs. I can't tell you how many times we get a home inspection and the report says light fixture in bedroom doesn't work, perhaps light bulb. And you're like, change the light bulbs, right? Clean the vents, clean the baseboards, power wash the outdoors, check the windows, clean them, vacuum, mop, sweep, take down personal items, especially like fridges covered with things and a lot of basically when we go through a house, we say put half of it away, all the stuff on your shelves, your books, your knickknacks, all those things. If you have 20 pillows on your bed, maybe not.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go through, declutter, get your house ready. But the other thing that Tego, I know is really hard for us as realtors and as clients is how does my house smell?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when we walk in and when buyers walk in, they notice it, right? It's very in your face, so to speak. So let's be honest. And if your house has an odor like cats, dogs, cooking, whatever it is, we need to talk about it so that we can eliminate it because that's a first 10 seconds kind of thing.
The problem with that is we who have lived in our houses for 20 years, like in our case, we don't notice it. We don't, if you don't notice that odor in your house. So you have to have a trusted friend, that's honest with you to let you know.
It's true, and that's where I was going. We need somebody that's going to tell you the truth and walk in and go, yeah, I know you smoke outside, but you walk in and you bring it with you. It has that odor. Or I can tell you have cats. Honestly, I can smell a lot of things like, you know, it's. Moving on. So, other things.
Yeah. So, really, I think just to wrap up this conversation about, if you're going to think about selling or you are thinking of selling in 2022, start early, getting it ready, get a consultation early. We'd love it when people, reach out to us a month or two before they want to get the home on the market. So that we can go through that with them and make sure they're going the right direction. Is also, I think the other thing you have to, realize is in 2022, homes are going to sell fast. So you can't put it on the market thinking, I'll have 3 months or whatever. No, it's not working that way. It's pretty rapid fire. So be prepared for that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie, we sure have enjoyed being back after our vacation. Always happy to talk real estate. And Tego's always happy to do year-end stats and projections.
And I think the information is absolutely right. Once you hit the market, be ready to sell. And I don't know if there's a quicker time because now you're up against two things. Not just the market supply demand, but obviously also dealing with the interest rates as well, guys.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, we've seen a surge. I think people are really coming out right now thinking that, rates look like they're going to continue to go up. So be interesting to see if, anyway, this year is going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out with this interest rates and the supply issues and costs and everything. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
After a quick break, here in the Kiva, we're going to prove that credit.